How to win any argument. Hi, I'm Brian Pombo. Welcome back to BrianJPombo.com's ongoing series called Brian J. Pombo Live. Today, I brought up an old book of mine, How to Win Friends and Influence People. This is an old classic by Dale Carnegie. There's a lot of good stuff in here. It's a little difficult to read nowadays because it has such an old style to it. The original book, I believe, came out in the, was it the 30s? Yeah, 1936 was the original copy of this. This actual edition I picked up in, I believe, 97. I was out with a friend. He knew someone else who recommended it, and that's why I grabbed it. It was purely off of a friend of a friend's recommendation, which tells you a little bit something about trust, which we'll discuss another time when it comes to marketing and trust. But I wanted to talk about a point that was made in here. I picked it up and opened it to a random page, and this is from the chapter that's entitled "You Can't Win an Argument." And I'm really giving away the whole point of this talk in saying that, because how to win any argument is honestly not to participate in the argument. But this I'm not just talking in just one-on-one arguments. We're talking about marketing, we're talking about business. If you're out there trying to win an argument, if you're trying to win over somebody to your side and trying to win something that they've already convinced themselves of, the best way to do it is to not try to go directly at it, to try and contradict them from where they're at. Because this is the famous line that's in here: a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. And it's true whether you're trying to argue politics with somebody in your family. It's true whether you're trying to argue religion. It's one of the main reasons why they say don't talk about sex, politics, religion. But the real problem with that is that because if you try and make it into an argument, if you try and convince the other person, you're not going to get anywhere. Even if you do it, if you do get them to agree, deep inside they're not going to be agreeing to you because you've convinced them against their will. And so how does this work? You have to be able to walk around whatever they've convinced themselves of, no matter how big of a lie it is. And there's lots of lies out there that are fully engulfed within people. I mean, we all walk around with things that aren't true, that we are fully convinced are true. And if you haven't caught that in yourself, then you probably believe quite a few things that aren't true. But more likely you have. You've believed something. You eventually got to the point to where you saw the other side. But it usually wasn't because somebody shoved it in your face. It's usually because you came to that on your own, and you were allowed to come to a new opinion or to realize the truth over something. But this is the point. The only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it. This is the principle of this particular chapter. And there's all these specific principles, and they give examples and everything. Good book, but I wanted to use it to kind of prove a point. If you have something out there that people already believe about you, about your competition, maybe they believe something very highly about your competition or about what your competition has, what you have to do is be able to talk around it. In other words, you have to say, okay, even though that may be true, even though we all think this, or you may think this about that, even though that's true, how about this? And you have to come at it with another angle and argue a different point. You have to start fresh. You have to start fresh on something that someone has not convinced themselves of yet. This is very particular, so it has very much to do with your marketplace, has very much to do with something, and I'm attempting to come up with an example here if I can. If, for example, if everyone is fully convinced that Amazon.com provides the cheapest of whatever it is that you're selling, and that's the cheapest place that they're going to be able to purchase it, it may not be true. But if they all believe it's true, it doesn't matter. So don't sit there and argue about it. Say, hey, Amazon.com provides really great pricing on these type of things. But if you are looking for higher quality, you see, you just change the argument. You change the argument to something else. We're not going to talk about pricing. We're going to set that aside. If you're looking for higher quality, if you're looking for something that will last longer, if you're looking, you got to find something that will diffuse the argument without arguing the point, even though the point may be untrue, even though they may not be the cheapest. You got to be able to sidestep it and be able to say, okay, that may be true, but do they provide something that has the highest quality, that's going to last the longest, that's available in 10 different colors, that's available, you have to be able to talk about something else. This is why they talk about unique selling propositions. You have to come in unique, because if the other sell has already been made, it's best not to even play in that territory. Come into a new territory. That's how you beat the argument. You beat the argument by not getting involved in that argument's territory. Start a new argument over here. Start one that you know you'll win because you're the first one that's made that argument. Hopefully that makes sense. Hey, if you're looking to overcome competition in your marketplace, get somebody on your team who can help you. Get someone with background. If you don't already have someone on staff, someone needs to be trained up. You need a competition czar on your team. You need somebody who can focus on overcoming competition where you're at and have them trained up. You may already have someone on staff that can do this. Okay, you might. And if you do, you got to train them up. And I'm always recommending good books and so forth. I've got a new book of my own coming out about this. But it's what I call Amazon proof. If you can make yourself to where you could even be able to overcome the competition of Amazon.com, then you know you're competition proof. And so I call it, I have a process I call the Amazon proof strategy session. If you'd like to be able to run your company through it, it would be extremely useful, and there's a money back guarantee. Go check it out at brianjpombo.com/Amazon. Hey, we're back here every night. You want some more tips, you want some more training on how to go about doing this. We talk about the principles, the strategies, and the tactics and techniques necessary to be able to do it every night here at Brian J. Pombo Live. You can find old episodes, over 300, over at brianjpombo.com. Hey, you have a great night, and we'll be back here tomorrow. In the meantime, get out there and let the magic happen.